Hey guys, what's happening? This is Sammy the Thrifty Brewer coming at you, and happy Homebrew Wednesday for Wednesday, September the 18th. Yeah, no longer Under the Stairs Brewing Company, but I actually decided to change things up a bit and start my new YouTube thing called the Thrifty Brewer. So I hope you guys all like and subscribe to my videos. The idea behind it is to get away from, being a brewery, because I'm not really a brewery, even though I make my own beer in the basement and whatnot, but also provide you guys with some helpful tips that are both frugal and thrifty. As us being home brewers, we're always looking at doing things a little bit less expensive, making things on our own and doing things such as that. So this week, what I did actually last night, I made a hop dryer. Figured why not, and the total cost of it was free. Just used everything that I had lying around the house. Actually used half of a 2x4 and some plastic coated vinyl screening that I had as well, and staple gun, a finish nailer, everything I had here. So if you have those items, you can make one honestly in about 20-25 minutes. What I did, took a 2x4, measured it out, two sections about 1.5 feet each. I then took the 2x4 to the table saw, ripped off 1/4 inch off of one side, and then took the table saw, those pieces that were 16 inches in length, and ripped those in half down the middle. So I ended up with two pieces that were 16 inches in length. Then I did that to the second piece, ended up with 4 pieces 16 inches in length. And then basically just finish nailed them all together with my air nailer, pneumatic nailer, to form a box, and then staple gun some window screening on the bottom. And I'll show you the finished product. It's not quite finished yet in terms of sanding and whatnot, but it is functional. And this is what I came up with. So you'll see it right here. Now, I don't have any hops on it right now, but I've got some Scotch bonnets that are drying. Gelder, you will appreciate this, mate. So I got 2, 4, 6, 8 Scotch bonnets drying, and I've got about another, looks like about another 8 to 10 that are ripening up nicely upstairs. The fan I've used, I just used one of my 130mm computer case fans. Hooked it up to basically an old phone charger I had lying around, plugged it in, it seems to be working a treat. So those have been going for basically just a day. So it's not pretty, but it works. And the idea behind it is that when I hopefully start growing hops next year, I'll be able to pick and dry hops and then vacuum seal them with what I have upstairs, and another way to save some money. So that's the whole idea behind the new YouTube format. I've actually also closed my Facebook page, www.facebook.com/underthestairsbrewing. It's now www.facebook.com/the-thrifty-brewer or Thrifty Brewer. I will put a link to it down here. It's still very much in its infant stages. I literally just started the website or the Facebook page yesterday, so I still have a crap load of content to upload to it. So I apologize in advance for lack of content, but I will post this link to this video up there, as well as any other comments, and sort of treat it like Under the Stairs Brewing was, but treat it more as a thrifty brewer and look at ways at saving money, doing things less expensively, not on the cheap, but less expensive. And some more important news, not so thrifty, not so frugal. Mrs. Thrifty Brewer and I went out last Saturday and picked up a new stove, which will be arriving next Saturday. This Saturday, which is quite exciting because we've been living without an oven since April. Those who'll know my previous videos, I blew up the oven, and I've had a whole bunch of misfortune in terms of appliances, with drilling a hole in the side of the fridge, nicking a line and whatnot. But seeing as it's Wednesday, I'm going to drink to the new stove and drink to the new Thrifty Brewer format. So cheers, everybody. Other than that, what's happening? Tonight, I'm going to be kegging my, calling it Sammy's Best Bitter. And here's a breakdown of it for you guys. Still doing the kits because, until I can find a larger bulk format or bulk way to buy grains and whatnot, I'll be doing kits for a little bit. Paying off the fridge, paying off the stove, figure skating lessons, synchronized skating lessons, all those lovely things that encompass our little tiny worlds called households. but have a larger impact on other hobbies and other more privileged things that we do, like homebrewing. So it was an Cooper's English Bitter Kit, 22 liters of water. Now I'll get back to the 22 liters of water in a second. A kilogram of amber malt extract in liquid, 500 grams of Demerara sugar, and 1 ounce of green bullet hops. And I still love those hops. And don't worry, Nick, I still have your hops here. Here, all vacuum sealed, ready to either send down or deliver personally to you in October when Fam and I come down to Sarnia to visit you, mate. Now, what I did is I brought the 22 liters of water to a boil. I added my amber malt liquid extract, 500 grams of Demerara sugar, brought that up, then again stirred it up, made sure everything was nice and incorporated. Returned that to the boil, added my 1 ounce of green bullet hops for the 30-minute boil. At flame out, I added the contents of the English Bitter Kit and incorporated it, stirred it up really, really well, cooled it down to pitching temperature with my lovely immersion wort chiller. Thank you again, Nick. And brought down to pitching temperature. My starting gravity is 1.050 again, so I'm hitting the numbers right there. Finishing gravity on the 7th of the month was 1.012, which gives me an ABV approximately of 5.1%. Racked it to secondary on the 7th, and then it's been sitting in secondary here under cover, and it's cleared up like beautifully well. No findings were added or anything like that. I decided not to do gelatin in that one. Sorry, Tony, but thought I'd have more than enough time to settle it on its own, and it seems to have. So I'll give you guys an update on that, probably either maybe this Friday if I'm really, really happy with it, or possibly next Wednesday on the next Homebrew Wednesday video. But a price breakdown on this. $19 for the kit. Water was free, obviously, until I get the water bill. The kilogram of amber liquid malt extract, it was $8. Demerara sugar I had here from a previous brew, so there's $0 value with that. The green bullet hops was $2. So total, we have a total dollar value for that brew for 20 liters of beer. Worked out to $29. Can't beat that. So, that in itself, I believe, is quite thrifty. Hang on, message coming in. And again, being thrifty, I'm doing all this on my iPhone 4. Here's to seeing what happens if I upgrade to the iOS 7, which comes out tomorrow. I think I may just hold off and wait and see what happens. But that's really all that I'm going to be doing now, guys. Starting to do things more cost effectively, give you guys some ideas on things that I found, and maybe you already know about them. If you have any ideas, by all means, I want you guys to comment to the videos, subscribe to the videos, like the videos, whether it be positive, negative, whatever. I hope you enjoy the new format. It's basically going to be me doing the same thing I'm doing before, but just with a little bit of a spin, a little bit of a twist on it. And keeping them a little bit shorter because, you know, time is valuable, time is important. There may be the odd time I ramble on and go forward and do stuff like that, like I've been known to do in the past. But this is my breakfast stout, which is, I killed the keg. Well, no, actually I didn't kill the keg. The Green Bullet IPA, which I talked about earlier in my previous videos, went for a wee bit of a walk last night, so that's why I have an empty keg. I've got the bitter to keg, which is perfect. The other thing I did want to mention to you guys that I did do on the cheap, and I want to give a big shout out to Tony Yates for the idea on this, is my bottle filling apparatus off the kegs. So I've decided to no longer bulk prime in bottles if I've got the beer kegged. Just because, you know, I've been running into too many issues of undercarbed beer, overcarbed beer, shitty measurements with a teaspoon or tablespoon or teaspoon and a quarter of dextrose, and I've just been, you know, honestly a little bit impatient with that. So what I did, this is a picnic tap that I bought last year from OntarioBeerKegs.com. Thank you again, Patrick and team, for getting this to me last year for my wife's 40th birthday party. So what I did, got the picnic tap here, and I can't remember how much they were. I think they're about $16 to $18, I think, roughly. And then I took, I had an old racking cane, or not a racking cane, but a bottle filler. And I did have the spring-loaded top on the bottom, which I cut off at about a 45-degree angle. And I could not find any number 2 stoppers anywhere. So I took one of these and took out my Dremel and Dremeled it down to fit. And honestly, it's worked really, really, really well. I was able to bottle last week, which is probably one of the reasons why the Green Bullet IPA is done, as well as the Breakfast Stout is well on its last legs also. I was able to bottle, let's see, 14 bottles total, so that's 7 of the Green Bullet and 7 of the Breakfast Stout total. And there were half-liter bottles, so a total of 7 liters bottled totally, and I've had 0 issues whatsoever. In fact, the bottles are nice and hard. Nice and hard. That joke never gets old. So that's the Breakfast Stout. That was 5.1. Nice and hard and good carb on that. The Green Bullet IPA, same thing. So very, very, very little resistance, or a lot of resistance, I should say, on those bottles. So those I'm going to try and start saving some, putting some away. I'm going to invest in a capper, although not so thrifty, but I have found some ones that I can purchase for about $16, $17 online, which I'm probably going to do that, and then start bottling some in the glass bottles that I have here. Now, I've never capped before, so if anybody has any tricks, tips, or ideas on how to do it, love to hear from you. I'm sure it's fairly straightforward from everything that I've seen online and, watching people do it. I'm sure it's very straightforward. But yeah, I've mostly just been using the PET bottles with the spin-on caps. They've been working well, but I'm looking for more of a long-term storage idea. From my understanding with these PET bottles, it's hard to get a really good, not seal, but I mean, I understand that over time oxygen will leach into the bottle. I don't know. So I'm looking for a more long-term solution, and the idea is for me to bottle at least 6 bottles or a 6-pack off of each keg, and then just tuck them away and put them aside. And I'm happy to report that I've been able to do that so far. Granted, it's only been 2 batches, and I did this last week. So what I do is I hide them. I put them in a specific spot so they're out of sight, out of mind. So I basically forget that I have them, and I think for me that's going to be the trick. Because in terms of willpower and beer, I don't have very much. So that's all that I have in terms of what I've been doing things for that are very inexpensive. I think grand total investment on this, the stopper and the cane, when I bought it, I was looking at maybe $8 on the high side, plus this, let's say 18 bucks, so 18 and 8 is in 12, so let's say $22, give or take, roughly. Hope my math is right. $26. Mr. Grimwood, my grade 10 math teacher, would be rolling over in his grave, God rest his soul. And then the hop dryer, which I'm hopefully going to be utilizing more next year. Like I said, I'm just strictly using it for drying off some chilies right now. And like I said, they've only been going on since last night, and they're already showing signs of, losing some moisture, which is a really good positive sign. So, this is Sammy, the Thrifty Brewer, saying thank you so very much for watching. Thank you again for liking, subscribing, thumbing up the videos. It helps out a huge amount. And by all means, if you have any questions, comments, whether they be positive or negative, I'd love to hear all of them in terms of how I can improve the YouTube channel, any stuff you want to see me try and do, or any ideas on what I can do to show you, the general public, in terms of brewing less expensively, because it's not cheap, not brewing cheap, or not brewing on the cheap, but it's brewing thrifty and brewing smart and brewing frugally. How's that for a word? I've only had one beer, and that's why I can say it. So again, thank you so very much. So this is Sammy the Thrifty Brewer saying, if you're going to do something, do it with a homebrew, and please keep calm and brew on, everybody. Cheers. You know what that tastes like? That tastes like another. Take care, everybody. Thanks again. Cheers.